Now I'd like to show you a way to remotely control one computer with another using free remote utilities from remoteutilities.com. So let's get started. We'll pop over to the domain. I'll put this address in the description, remoteutilities.com/download. All right, you can agree to the cookie bit down at the bottom. And essentially, the way this works is that the computer that you want to control is going to be a host. And with the free version, you can have up to 10 computers, like hosts, in your viewer. So you can have, if you're controlling everything from one station, you'll download the viewer once on that station, say your station at home, and then you could have 10 computers, either private or commercial, doesn't matter, they're good with either. Okay, so let's take this as the host, Windows 10 machine, and we're going to download the host. We get a few choices here. I'm just going to go for the exe, so we'll save that file. And this is Firefox, so my download will be up here in the upper right, but if you're using Google Chrome, it'll be in the lower left, and if you're using Edge, it'll show up somewhere near the bottom there. So once we have this file, we want to run it, so we're going to click on that. And now that that's running, we can close the browser to avoid distractions. All right, so next, you're going to accept the user agreement. Okay, the normal path is fine. Next. Okay, so there's some questions here. Virtual printer, hey, that would be great. Let's keep that. Monitor driver, let's go ahead and install that in case you need to blank the remote screen, which is useful if you just want to keep people from either seeing what you're doing or from feeling, hey, this computer's on, and they start using it, right? And okay, of course you want to run it after installation so we can tweak it a bit, and we want to set the password for this machine. So that's all good. Next, install, let the files go in. Okay, so here is where you're going to create the password for this computer. Of course, each computer, you probably want a different password. It has to be a minimum of 4 characters. We'll just do the minimum for now. You might want to do something longer to be more secure, but this is just a test. Let's go OK. That's completed. And we can click on Finish. So now you will have a new icon in your system tray. This little blue one here gives you your local address, etc. And if we right click, we can always choose Settings for Host. Okay. And if you want to connect over the internet across large distances, you're going to want to click on Configure here where it says Dashboard. You're on the dashboard area, first area. Click Configure so that you get an ID to use. Once you click on Configure, click on Get New ID. All right, and now this is important. This is what is going to this is a telephone number for your computer, right? This is what you're going to connect with. So you can just click on copy, it'll go on your clipboard, and of course keep note of that so that you can use it from the other machine. All right, so we can close that, and you'll see that now you've got the ID here that you can always reference, and it gives you a port in case you need to troubleshoot that. I haven't had trouble with that, so that's usually not something you really have to think about. And essentially we can click OK unless you want to tweak a few other things here. There are different areas that you can explore. Let's just go ahead and click OK, and this machine should be set up and ready to go as a host. Now I'm going to switch to a different virtual machine here, and now we're going to download the viewer. and we're going to connect to that other machine. Okay, so once again, this link will be in the description below the video. And we're going to grab the viewer. exe again, save the file. Once the file's downloaded, run the file. And then this is why we close the browser once it's running, right? You can see how it's running in behind here. This confuses a lot of people when this happens. So you see it's flashing on the taskbar. It may not even be flashing, but it would generally be the item to the far right on your taskbar. That's the installer. So let's close the browser so we don't have that distracting and nothing for it to hide behind. And let's go ahead and click next. Accept, next, next, install. And once it's gone through all that bit, it will offer to launch. And of course, we would love to do that, so we'll click on finish. Okay, so this isn't quite fitting. I'm going to pull it, just grab the header and pull that down a bit so that I can click on the maximize button here, and now we have a clean view. Now it says it's a trial version. You can get a free license. You have to request a free license, right? And we will do that shortly. Let's just get the connection working. So we're going to add a connection. We double click here. Name of connection. That was our Windows 10 machine. Okay, and then IP address, internet ID, or DNS name. So that internet ID that we copied, that's what we want to put in here. If it was a local machine on your local network, you could just put the IP address, right? Which it actually be preferred to put the IP address if it's a local machine on your local network. But in this case, we'll use the internet ID. So paste that in there. We're going to check off the advanced here because we're going to want to tweak a few things. Connect now, and generally, of course, you want full control, right? But there are other levels of connection, but we're just going to worry about full control of the machine. Let's go ahead and click OK. Now here is where we can tweak things a little bit. One thing is we can have it save the password. If your machine is secure enough, you can go ahead and do that. Put in the password for the host machine that you made up earlier. Check off save password, and then you won't have to log in that way again, right? And then the view mode, I would recommend stretch, which will give you whatever window that this opens in, it'll fit it within that window, right? That seems to me the most useful. There are full screen and full screen stretch. If you're going to choose a full screen mode, use full screen stretch, because that way, again, it will fit within your current screen. If the host screen is larger than yours and you have full screen, it'll go off screen, right? But if you use full screen stretch, it'll stretch and compress itself to fit within your screen. So either stretch or full screen stretch are the ones I would recommend. Okay, you can capture sound if you need to, right? That's going to add a lot of bandwidth at times, of course. So you may not want to do that, right? And then there are color depths, 16 bits more than enough for most people if you're doing Photoshop work remotely or whatever. 24 bits may be the way to go. Additional properties here, you can blank the host screen, which we checked off that box to enable that on that install. You can lock the mouse and keyboard at that end so that people can't interfere with what you're doing. You can disable arrow, all the little animations and stuff for Windows 7, possibly Windows 10 as well. That may also apply to. And remove wallpaper, right? So you'll have less, if the wallpaper is not there, there's less video information to be sending your way. If you're looking at the desktop, it could help with performance, right? So, you know, choose whichever ones that you want. There's a few others here that you can play with. Check out other options if you like. And we're going to click OK. And you'll see here it says logging on. All right, so let's give it a sec. It's loading the remote screen. Okay, so now we are controlling that Windows 10 machine from this Windows 7 station. Okay, so here I can click on the Start button, run programs, etc. Now at the very top, in the center of the screen, you got this little gray bar. That's your control panel, right? Your remote control panel, I suppose you would say. There's this little pin here. If you don't want it disappearing and popping out of view all the time, you can click the pin to pin it in place, right? So here we have the full control button, which is the mode that we chose, right? You can turn on audio. You can record the session, right? There's other settings here. So you can click on that, and then that gives you the ability to tweak some of those settings that we were playing with when we checked off advanced, right? And then here we have other modes that we can enter instead of the full control, right? And here's where you would have different displays. And if there were multiple displays, multiple monitors, you could choose whichever monitor, or entire desktop should mean if you have two monitors at the other side, it'll show you both at once. That's probably not what you want to do on a single monitor like this. Everything would be very small, so you'd probably want to choose a specific display, right? There's a little console thing there. I'm not, to be honest, even sure. Oh, terminal sessions. Lock input and screen on the other side. There's a chat. If you needed to chat with somebody who was actually sitting at the other end, you could start a chat session. And then here's some quick, say here's full screen stretch view. We can pop into that, and then that's much nicer, right? If you just want full access to the remote machine, but you're not concerned about accessing your local machine. If you do have to sort of switch back and forth, use the stretch view, and then you can always, minimize these guys and do whatever you have to on your local machine, and then jump back in, right? It depends on, how good this view looks in the window. If everything is a bit too small there, then you probably want to switch to the full screen stretch view to get the maximum view here. And then the other thing too is, if this is all way too small, your laptop has a tiny screen and your desktop at work has a really big screen, and everything here just looks too small to comfortably work with, you can always right click on the desktop, the remote desktop, right? And go to display settings, okay? And then choose a smaller resolution, right? So, this is a pretty reasonable small resolution, but if we go here, I might go to 800 by 600, say, and then everything would appear that much bigger on my screen here, right? So I won't bother tweaking that actually, because our view here is nice. But if you do find everything's tiny, too tiny to work with, you can change your display settings, right? So hopefully this gets you connected, and next thing I'll just show you is how to apply for that free license so that you're out of trial mode. So when you're in the viewer where we have the connections here, if you click on the Help button at the top, or the Help tab, you can go ahead and click on Get Free License. Just agree to this little cookie bit here. Okay, and then basically they have a very simple form. You're going to give your name, you're going to put in your email address, agree to the terms of service, check the little box, say you're not a robot, and hit submit, right? They'll send you a code in the email, right? Came very fast when I did it. Okay, and then once you have the code, you'll go back into the viewer and then click on license key storage, right? You'll paste the code here in this bottom section, and then once it's in there, you can click the add button and it will add that free license to this viewer, right? And then the idea with the free license is that you can have up to 10 computers in your address book here, right? So, you know, 10 free remote connections is a fabulous deal. I highly recommend this program. Hopefully it helps you connect, you know, to work from home or home from work, or, you know, help your grandma, whatever you're doing. This may be the solution for you.